There he is. He looks like he's on sabbatical. He's decided, I'm not working today. What are you doing, Danny? What are you doing, Danny? What are you doing, Danny? What is up, everybody? Happy Monday. My name's Bill. This is Pirate Solutions Forestry, and you saw Danny there in the beginning. It's a wacky day for me. Fuel day. I had to go buy fuel, diesel and gas both. I had to clean up around the mill. I had to do some edging to, not to complete, I think it's all extra, but extra stuff for my trailer deck order. Clean up next to the mill, everything that was over there for edging stuff. I cut up and put in my campwood bin. So basically I loaded my campwood bin out front with a whole bunch of oak and a little bit of walnut and a little bit of pine, but bigger, bigger chunks, say chunks like this, 2x2 stuff and some bigger stuff. And now I'm putting the mill away. Jerry Bigelow and myself, we've been talking a little bit about some of the problems that Jerry's having with his Stellicut bands. He's having some Stellicut bands break. And it's not a new problem to just Jerry. There are other people on some of the forums who have been saying that they've had some of those same things happen. And some people that disagree with some of my findings about how many board feet I've gotten with some of these Stellicut bands. I found something very interesting today. So as you guys know, we've been running a Stellicut band. And after I show you this, I'll kind of take you around and show you what's going on around the sawmill. I did some grading and cleanup and stuff like that. But I was getting ready to put my sawmill away. Now we've run over 1,000 board feet through this band. And in edging today, I mean, let's be honest, in cutting the walnut that I cut on Friday, milling my contingency log that some of you saw on Sunday that I milled on Saturday, this band's still cutting fine. However, there's a major problem with this band. A major problem. And this is the first time that I've really seen it. And it hasn't broken and it's still cutting good. But what's happened to this band, and I'm going to show you up close here in a second, is that the Stellicut teeth are still sharp after over 1,000 board feet. I don't know exactly how many board feet I've cut. It's over 1,000. And a lot of that in some nasty black oak, a lot of that in some dirty walnut. Some of its cutting wasn't kind. There's no way to clean up these logs, so it peeled through its share of dirt. But the teeth that are set left and right like this, that don't have a stellite insert, the normal everyday teeth, on this band right now are dull. They're dull to the point, and I'll show it to you in the sunlight because it's a perfect environment to see the glinting on these teeth. I can see it from here looking down on the band. The tops of the non-stellite teeth are gone. They're not rounded over, but the tip's gone. And now it's just a shiny facet. And the stellite teeth are still sharp. And I think that this is a fatal thing with the stellite bands. Now, granted, guys, let's be honest. Over 1,000 board feet, this band, and in hard cutting conditions, guys, it's not like I'm cutting pine. I cut some monster oaks. If you don't watch the channel and you haven't seen, go back and watch the last few oaks that I cut. Not the last one, because that was my contingency log, but go look at the two before that I was cutting for this trail order that I'll show you in a second. This has been cutting some pretty monster stuff. not clean monster stuff. But I think what's happening with these bands is that the Stellite inserts are giving you a false sense of security. It's almost acting like a skip tooth chainsaw chain now, where only every third tooth is actually doing any real cutting, and all the other teeth are rubbing, which means it's causing a shit pile of heat. Now, Jerry and I were talking earlier, I had commented on one of his videos, and we were talking earlier about, because he's automated his mill and he's just pushing go and it goes on its own, that might be a reason why he broke a couple of bands, because he's not getting the same feedback that I am when I'm pushing the mill. In other words, when my Stellicut bands, or any band, when I start to get bad feedback, and it doesn't have to leave a ton of waves, but if I'm starting to have to push, I'm taking that band off, and then I sharpen it, and then I go back, and it goes right through. So I'm getting feedback. Jerry's not getting feedback because of his automated system. And I think that could be a problem with bands like this. So what I want to do is I have to set up a shot here where I can take you in close and show you these teeth in the sunlight. And when we're done looking at this band, because I think what's happening is that it's going to build up a ton of heat running like this. Because if it was a true skip tooth, if those other two teeth that are like this were just ground off and it was just cutting with the Stellite inserts, probably would be fine. But with those other teeth rubbing on the wood, and wait till you see the shiny spots. I mean, I can see them from here. That's creating a ton of heat. That's really destructive. Now, I run a shit pile of water, even when I'm cutting hardwood, even when I'm cutting oak. I can't stand it when somebody says, well, when I cut hardwood, I don't even run anything. I'm not running it to keep my band clean, I'm running it to keep my band cool. And maybe the amount of water that I run, because I treat it like it's free, maybe that's why I haven't broken any. Because I could tell you right now, if I push this band hard in hardwood, this band's going to have a problem. So it's Sharpenville time on this one, but I need to show this to you guys, because we're trying to get to the bottom of why some people are breaking Stellicut bands and some people aren't. I've never broken one, and I've run the crap shit out of them. So I'm going to shut you off, get you a better view, and take you in close and show you these teeth, and I'll try to get some good shots in the sun. You have to bear with me here, guys. If you don't run these bands and you don't care about bands and you don't care about tooth geometry and problems in sawmilling and stuff like that, this is not the video for you. I'm not out on the beach with a bunch of kitties and cats knocking over a cup behind me in the kitchen or whatever. This is not a TikTok video. This is an information video. So if you're not interested in information, sign the hell off and get out of here. And many of you probably already have. But for guys that are interested in these bands and trying to reproduce some of the results that I've gotten, especially at the logging show in Bangor, I was stunned by how far that one band cut in those 2 days in dirty, dirty, filthy hemlock that we had no way of cleaning. But I'm going to show you the toll that my cutting has done on this one. And it's significant. It really is. It's absolutely significant. So you're going to have to bear with me on the other shot. I'm going to get you in close. I'm going to get them in the sunlight right so you can see what's happened to the tips of the teeth. And hopefully we can start to answer some questions. Now, I want you guys to bear with me. I am going to try, because I can see it so clearly, I'm going to try to zoom in on this is the back side of the teeth. In other words, the teeth are pointing away from us. But I want you to look at the glinting on the back side of the teeth in the sunlight. I'm trying to get you at my same eye shot here. All right, so you can see the Stellite insert right there. And I'll try to get the shine right, because this is going to be hard for me. But if you can see the back side of the two set teeth Gotta get my finger in there. Right there. You see how shiny they are? And the next two, and the next two. You see these teeth right here shining in the sunlight? If I can get my hand up there. There you go. See that one? And that one? You see how they're totally rubbed off? Now these stellite inserts, let's see. Here's, if I can do this. Here's the back of my finger, okay? You can see there's no marks on my nail. I'm gonna rub it on that stellite insert. I mean, I can already see the fingernail peeling off, flying away in the wind. This stellite insert is still sharp. It's peel your fingernail sharp right here. All right. Again, I'm trying to give you the best view I can, guys. This tooth is stone flat dull. This tooth is stone flat dull. And I'm going to show you from the other side where these teeth are facing into you. But I mean, like, and some of them still have some edge on them. I'll just get my finger through here, try and feel a few of them. Some of them were like almost rounded over. Some of these here, they don't feel bad. They don't feel like crazy dull. That's going to be a bad view because I've already done this on my thumb. Let's see if I can get it to scrape off a brand new fingernail. It's not even really leaving a mark. I'm going to try to get you a view on the inside facing the teeth in the sunlight. So if you look down this band, if I get the light right, I can see it in my eyes crystal clear. It's going to be a hard view to reproduce here, guys, and I apologize for that. I really do. If I could, so with just this tooth right here and this tooth right here, it's hard for me to get the sunlight on them to catch it in the camera, but I mean, the tip's just gone off it. It's rounded over. And the stellite insert is still peel my fingernail. Look, you can see fingernail flying off. Still peel my fingernail sharp. And then you see this one, see the glinting on it? I wish I could get the sunlight just right. But this, the edge of this tooth is gone. The edge of this tooth is gone. And then you got a sharp stellite insert that's still razor sharp. And then the tip of this tooth is gone. Try to get it zoomed in. Tip of this tooth is gone. This tooth doesn't look too bad. I don't see any reflection off it. But the majority of them are really, really in bad shape. And if I'm going to zoom you back out really quick. If I can get the sunlight right, I can see it there so clear. You can see the sunlight shining off the tips of the teeth right there on the, you see the battery on the blower, you see those teeth just to the right of the battery of the blower that are kind of facing the camera right now? You can see the sunlight just shining off the tips of the teeth. And from this length away, I can see it, you know, shining better than I can if I zoom you in. See the ones kind of in front of the circular saw there. So let me put you back in the holder here. But what's happened here, guys, is that I wish I could get the camera to pick this up. Wow, I'm really bleeding there. Got a pretty good cut. All these teeth right here, I can see the edge in the sunlight. Oh, like really, really bad. Some are worse than others, but it's every tooth. Every one of these teeth is dull, except for the stellite tooth. The only tooth that's doing any work, or the only teeth that are doing any work on this band right now, the only reason it's still cutting is because of the stellite inserts. And all the other ones, all they're doing is rubbing, and the rubbing is even showing onto the backside. And they're creating
The other thing I want to show you here is the band that I just took off that I threw in my sharpening rack.
You got a brand new Stellicut band that I took off at some point right there. Look at how blued and hot that band is. Look at how blued the band got versus the bands next to it. This band definitely got hot because of those teeth. It was on its way to failure. I think that is a big factor in breaking these bands. See if I can get you a view from the back side right here. I hope it shows up in the camera, but if you see where my finger's pointing right here, just me looking down with the sunlight shining on those teeth, I can see every single one of them rounded over. Not rounded, but beat. They're not sharp at all. It's not a crisp point. So I think that's an issue with these bands, especially if you're not getting the feedback of pushing on them by hand to know when they start to push hard, to know when to take it off the mill. And Norwood and I both speculated some of this in the beginning, that how would you know when to take it off? It just cuts so far that this might be a band that you're just going to cut and cut and cut and cut and cut. You're going to cut 3,000 board feet and then it's just going to eventually break. Well, we're seeing on this band what would cause this band to heat up and break. This one just caused a little dog heart attack. Went off somewhere. It's probably, the hard part is that if he knows that he's close, like if he was laying under the truck and he knows he's close and I'm yelling for him, he won't come out because he knows he's like, I'm right here, Dad. So this is the order, not what's under there, but those two boards and then this whole bunk here for the trailer deck that we're going to do. There's plenty of wood here. We're going to go through and put in the long ones first, work our way backwards. So if we have extra long ones, we can figure out what they make the most sense to cut out of them and work our way down. And I'm sure we're going to have extra wood. As you can see, I did a cleanup next to the sawmill here. It'll lift my log lifter out of the way, clean out underneath it, get rid of all my sawdust. I put some of it over here to try to keep some of the dust down and mix in with the dirt over here. We are in a drought like you read about. It's unbelievable. We haven't had rain in so long. It's so dusty out here. I filled in my hole where I'm constantly turning around, grabbing logs and dumping them up on the mill. And I got to blow the mill out. I got to get these two boards off here. I love it when I say that. I got to get these two boards off. I got a 2x8 there. No, I'm sorry, 2x6 there and a 1x6 that's 14 feet long. That was the last stuff that I edged. Get my log loader down. And we will be ready to kick it off tomorrow. We got to mill some white oak. I'll take you up there. Let's take a walk around the back log yard. There he is in the shade now. See, like if he's out here where I can see, where he knows that he's right by where I can see him and I yell for him, he won't even move. He'll just stay there until I get my eyes on him. Josko Katapovich, we have to cut some white oak for him. We're going to cut that one right there and that one right there, I believe. I've got to metal detect these. I'm not sure if there's metal in them. There's a reason why they're still here. And I've gotten more comfortable with milling small logs. These are fatties, but they're short logs on the sawmill with the current setup. So we're going to mill those out for him. Let's see. There's some pitch pine, white pine here, some spindly stuff. Same thing over here, longer stuff. Some of them are spindly. That's where we tested Josko's saw. I don't know if you can see down this pitch pine right here, but it's not good for anything. It's just totally bent. This one right here probably has a good 10-foot section in it, and then the end bends off like that. So you kind of wait for just the right situation to cut these. This one up here is a nice kind of fat long one. Some of these other ones are just straight firewood. I'll cut them up. I'm going to start cutting them up for firewood. This one here is going to be a slab log for Thatcher Smith at Plymouth Live Edge. Some other firewood logs over here. these were some nice fat little pine logs that Jesse Keys brought to me once upon a time. There's a chance that we're going to turn those into some flooring for Jesse, or at least with some of them. They're not long. They're only like 6-7 feet long, but they're really clear and fat, and it would create a lot of nice wide plank stuff. My big log pile up here is gone. Some of it's in here. This is what I've been pulling out to mill my construction material out of. These are older logs that I have that I've been making 2x4s and 4x4s and 6x6s out of. They're a really good, nice pine, white pine right there. This pitch pine's not that bad. That other one that's sitting right there looks like a firewood log. That one's got some curves in it, but it would yield something. And of course, you got like a 18-footer up there right there. That's a pretty nice log. And the one above it, we got a couple of mystery logs here. I am not sure what these are. Everything about these screams oak at me. The bark, the places where the bark's ripped off, if you see right there, and it looks totally oak. See right there, looks totally oak. You can see where the bark's ripped off right there. It's got no yellow cambium layer, so it's not a black oak, but the bark looks like a red oak. It looks oaky, but I'll tell you, I'll ask you guys, have any of you ever seen an oak log with that many limbs in it? Because I haven't. I mean, it's got so many limbs, it looks like a spruce. And it's got a real dark center. That one too. Almost like a tulip poplar center. But it's oaky on the bark. I mean, and you can see in there if I get up close. I mean, it looks oak to me. I can see the medullary rays in the outside of the end here. So you see where my finger is right here. I can see all the medullary rays there, but it's got a real dark center. And I'm sure this is the same log, this same tree as this one. And we're gonna have to cut these and find out what they are, because I am not sure. You see how the center is just dark up against the sapwood? It just, bark screams oak. Everything looks like oak. You can see the medullary rays in the limbs there. Everything screams oak except for the dark center. And how many limbs are in this log? I've never seen an oak like that has opposing limbs like that, like a spruce. So that's a mystery log. This is all we have left for big black oak right here. We have a monster in the back. It's huge. We have a real nice, beautiful little like 12-footer here that's nice and straight with no limbs on it. We have a funky one up there. We have a funky one right here. That is really all we have left for oak right now. Gonna have to get some more oak. Got some slab logs for Thatcher Smith. I think this one and that one behind it. Nice big pines. This one is a slab log for Thatcher Smith. There's a tulip poplar up in the top up there. Bunch of logs that I really can't cut here. I got a hard maple with that big curve in it right there, and a bunch of walnuts sitting on top of it. My spruce pile, got some nice long spruce, some fat spruce, and there's a monster log in here that needs to be slabbed for Paul Moskovsky. I don't know if you guys can see that thing right there, but that's like 7 foot across right there. It's huge. That is a monster log. I think we're gonna have to stand it up and slab it that way. It's probably gonna have to be chainsaw milled. So you can see the spruce log on top. You see how you get all those opposing limbs, you know, around the tree? You know, it just looks like that thing over there. I just don't know what to make of it. I do have another oak here and a little, I don't know what the hell kind of little black oak right there that's not good for anything, and then a big cedar behind it and a bunch of elm sitting here. But I'm getting thin. starting to get thin. I got lots of long ones. I need to start cutting some longer material to get rid of some of these long ones. This is my short cutoff pile of chunks that we've taken off. Some of the 20 footers where to get the best yield we had to take some off, and they're all sitting over here. Some of them are a little crooked. This one's got a double leader in it. Some of them are a little bendy, but they're all decent for something. And we've been hopefully waiting for the right time to cut these for the right order. I also have some, I don't know, some sort of little fruit tree down there. I don't know what it is, but it's a big chunk of apple or something like that. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Oh, there he is. He's coming up the hill. He's coming up the hill to hunt the piles. So let's do an outro here before Mommy gets home. Danny's got to go to the Veterans Center today to Doggy's social group. And we're waiting for Mommy to come home. She should be home pretty much any time now. So that's pretty much a view of what I got going on out there for logs. I also have a huge brand new log pile that you guys can't see that's up there in the woods of monster white pines. And that's a bunch of that's going to get cut for this timber frame order that we're going to start cutting maybe later this week for Ben Silva. We got to cut a big timber frame order, and I will only cut it out of stuff that's not going to be buggy and old, and he wants it all cut out of white pine for the weight of some of these beams. And that pile up there where my finger's pointing, that's going to be the pile that we're going to pull from. So let's do an outro. So that's pretty much it of what's going on around here for a day in the life of. I appreciate you guys coming along for the ride and coming along, and for those of you that have hung on this long, I really appreciate it. You really care about what's going on around here. It kind of gets a little bit disheveled when I'm cutting a lot of stuff. You know, I get tons of buildup under the mill. I need to get a backpack blower. I can go down and borrow one from Paul Moskovsky anytime I want. But the difference in power between a backpack blower and a little handheld blower is so unbelievable. You take a backpack blower and blow it under the mill, it'll blow everything right down to the moldy dirt. It'll totally clean it out. It's nice to get the area next to the mill cleaned up. I always kind of feel better when there's nothing sitting over here. It's nice to get the campwood bin full because we're going to be going into the fall push, and that campwood bin actually makes decent amount of money in the fall and in the not so much in the spring because people haven't come down and opened up their houses yet. But now that their houses are open, they're going to hang on until the weather gets bad before they close up. And these people around here, they own unbelievable houses. Houses with 20 bedrooms in them, 15 bedrooms in them, 10 bedrooms in them, all around the water, all around me here. And they will come down weekends until the weather turns bad enough for them to have to close their house up for the winter, and then they all go away. During that time, we will sell a lot of campwood. And then during the winter, I sell a decent amount of campwood too. And I really think I don't know if people are coming down because it's off season and they get a better little, I don't know what that thing's called, the bed and breakfast thing where you go stay at somebody's house. If they get better deals on that, and there's a fireplace there, so they want to have a little fire, so they come down and they'll buy my campwood up, bin out nonstop during the winter. And during the winter, I put bigger stuff in there, you know, because a lot of people are trying to burn overnight. But right now, they're burning in fire pits, so I can throw everything in there. I mean, all my little chunks that I cut off of logs and stuff like that, I put them all out there for free underneath the campwood bin, and then good wood in the campwood bin, and have a little thing that says anything under the bin's free. And they take it all just to burn in their fire pits outside while they're sitting around having a couple of beers at night for their last hurrah before we turn into a frozen granite rock here, which is what we do. Everybody thinks the Cape sandy. we're not built on sand. We're built on a granite pith helmet, basically. Glaciers came down here and carved this area and pushed everything, the topsoil, the trees, everything off Cape Cod at one point, and left when they retreated, they left stone walls in the woods. There are a couple of great books out about it, the Stone Walls of New England. If you've ever gone out and found in the middle of a mature forest where there was never any farmland, where the trees are much older than when this place was clear cut in the 1800s and when the hurricane wiped it in 1938. If you find that older growth hardwood forests here in New England, and all of a sudden you're walking miles out in the middle of nowhere, or even on the side of a mountain, and you see a stone wall, that was from glaciers. As the glaciers pushed along and scraped the ground, all these little rocks rolled in front of them. It scraped them round, and then when the glacier retreated, or that part of the glacier retreated, it'll leave a rock wall, a stone rock wall that it was pushing in front of it. It's a really interesting subject. Most of the stone walls in the low flat parts of New England are there because at one point in time, New England was clear cut for farmland, and as the farmers were dealing with their fields and trying to plant their fields, they threw all the rocks off to the side into the wall, and those walls came from that. But there's this distinct difference between round stone wall rocks and chunky stone wall rocks. You see a stone wall rock that's all made out of flagstone, that wasn't pushed by a glacier. When you see a stone wall that's all perfectly round rocks and they're all smooth, that was pushed and scraped by a glacier over thousands of years. A glacier moved along over thousands of years and broke the granite up into jagged chunks, and then they got crushed under. We had 2 miles of ice on top of them. Where I'm sitting right here, the glaciers were 2 miles thick. 2 miles. Think about that. I had 2 miles of ice on top of me. When we have ships come into the Cape Cod Canal and stuff like that at night, you can hear the sound of the screw, the propeller, for those of you who don't know what a screw is, reverberate in the ground. So if you wake up in the middle of the night, you can hear the ships in the ocean around us. You hear it creates a hum. That's the screw underwater reverberating through the granite because the granite's so solid. It's pretty amazing geological lesson in Cape Cod. But we're not sand. The sand is all these granite rocks that have been ground apart by the tide and the wind and the waves and everything else, been smashed into little pieces, and that is what washes up on top of the solid granite and has created this sand dune and our beaches and everything else. So we have granite sand beaches. That's fragments of granite that got pulverized by glaciers in the ocean over millennia, many millennia. Yeah, so that's my little geology session for the day. And we're going to get back at it tomorrow. I mean, today, funky day. I got to meet with the customer for the trailer deck order tomorrow. We got to go over. He wants to know how much I want to help with the installation. He doesn't want my side to blow what he's going to make on this project, which is fine by me. I told him, hey, look, I'll come over and help you, get them all in place for free, and you can screw them down. I kind of like the guy, and I don't want to blow his budget. I'm not looking to do the installation. I don't want to be crawling around on my knees for 2 days, drilling and whacking in screws. For for lack of terms, for as many times as I've done it, I'm just better at it. You know, companies always tell me, when they hire me to do a trailer deck, they always tell me, well, you come in and you're in and out in a day and a half. And when we have our guys do it, it takes them a week, and they break 1,000 drill bits and tons of screws, and screw guns and everything are always breaking, and they're always back and forth to the store, and it's a super slow process. But then when you come in and do it, you're in and out in like 6 hours and the whole thing's done. Well, it's just because I've just been beaten into learning how to do it by myself. So I wanted to offer my assistance to him, because I think if I give him my assistance, it's just going to go way easier for him. This is a pretty good sized deck for somebody to go through. So that's it. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit that little notifications bell to know when videos are coming out from us. I realize that this isn't a very exciting video. Hopefully for the people that run Stellicut bands, it's informative. If that band did not have those stellite inserts, it would have cut 300 board feet. One log, one big oak log, and it would have been dull. That's cut over 1,000. So it's done the work of 3 bands, and it's still cutting. Just, I know from the glinting, that's the worst I've seen. I know from the glinting that that band, if I don't take it out of service right now, I'm going to make it to where it's not sharpenable. It's probably going to break. So I wanted to get that information out. I think that information's good. If you want to buy the Stellicut bands from Norwood, use my affiliate link down below. It's in the description. All you have to do is copy and paste it to your browser. It takes you right to Norwood's site. And for now, for Danny and myself, I'm going to chill out on the farmer's porch here on my little saw hut. And Pirate Solutions out.